First story. I promised my daughter a school vacation if she kept her grades up, then canceled. It's been 3 years. I told her to move on and say goodbye to her brother, who is going on the same vacation. She sulked and talked SHT about me to her brother. So I smacked her on the head and grounded her and her brother out of the trip. Now everyone has abandoned me, and I regret my actions. This happened 3 years ago, and my daughter Kaylin, now 15, still holds a serious grudge about it. I'm only bringing it up now because our younger son is going to start 8th grade next year, and he's already talking about the school's spring break trip. The same one Kaylin missed, which honestly opened up a whole can of worms in our family I wasn't prepared for. Some background. Kaylin is our oldest. She's always been a strong-willed, passionate kid, and yes, emotional. Ever since she hit middle school, everything became bigger with her. If she had a good day, she was floating. If something went wrong, the world ended. I chalked most of it up to puberty and teenage hormones, but I'll admit she's more expressive than most. Especially when she feels like she's not being heard. She had her heart set on this trip since the first week of 6th grade. The school does this big spring break trip to NYC and DC in 8th grade. It's a big deal for the kids here. She and her little friend group had been planning it forever. We told her from the start she could go as long as she kept her grades up and stayed out of trouble. She did. Honestly, she worked her butt off in 7th grade, especially in maths, which was her weak subject. Then came the problem. My younger sister Linda got engaged when Kaylin was in 7th grade. Linda's always been a little chaotic. She's the baby of the family, kind of the golden child. The engagement was a whirlwind, of course, and she announced she was planning a massive destination wedding in New Mexico. The catch? She picked the exact week of Kaylin's 8th grade spring break. At first, I thought it might be okay. Maybe Kaylin could fly back early. Maybe the trip would fall on different dates. But no, everything collided perfectly. And Linda's wedding wasn't just a wedding. It was turning into a full-blown family reunion. All my siblings, cousins, uncles, aunts, and even my 89-year-old grandparents, Kaylin's great-grandparents, were flying in. Some of these people I hadn't seen in 10 years. Some of them had never even met my kids. We're a big Catholic family, and gatherings like this are rare. It felt like a once-in-a-lifetime moment. So we sat Kaylin down and told her she couldn't go on the school trip after all. That we needed to go as a family to Aunt Linda's wedding. I won't sugarcoat it, she was devastated. Full-on sobbing, accusing us of breaking our promise. My husband tried to soften the blow by offering to take her to New York as a family later in the summer. Kaylin said that wasn't the point. She didn't want to go with us, she wanted the experience with her friends. Honestly, I thought she was being dramatic. In my head, I'm thinking, you'll get over this. It's just a trip. But it wasn't just a trip to her. For weeks, she was cold, withdrawn, and snappy. It wasn't just the missed trip, I think it was the feeling that we didn't care about what was important to her. And maybe that's fair. I could have handled it better. But at the time, we had pressure from every direction: my parents, my siblings, and Linda herself, who had already made Kaylin a junior bridesmaid. There wasn't an option to just skip it. That would have caused a family rift. And it's not like we didn't try to include Kaylin. We gave her options. We said she could bring her sketchpad and maybe do a travel journal of the trip. She loves art. We looked up sightseeing stuff in Santa Fe. We even offered to let her skip some family dinners if she wanted some space. But nothing helped. She shut down completely. Things had already been rocky between us before this, too. A few months earlier, she'd gotten in a huge fight with her dad over a group chat incident at school. Some drama with another girl calling her clingy and annoying. She came to us about it, and I'll admit, we didn't handle it great. My husband told her to just ignore them and not take it so personally. I tried to be more supportive, but even I ended up saying something like, "This won't matter in 5 years." That blew up into a bigger thing, Kaylin saying we always take everyone else's side, that we don't listen. So the school trip thing just stacked on top of that. Anyway, we flew out to New Mexico the weekend before the wedding. We stayed at my other sister's house with her family, 3 younger cousins, all under 10. Kaylin was stuck sharing a room with them, which did not help. She barely spoke a word the first 2 days, just buried in her headphones or texting her friends, who were already posting pictures from NYC. You could feel the tension in the air. Then the bombshell dropped. 3 days before the wedding, Linda called off the entire thing. Apparently, her fiancé, now ex, confessed he wasn't ready to commit and didn't want to go through with it. There had been red flags, and some of us weren't shocked, but still total chaos. Linda was devastated. My parents were in meltdown mode. Vendors needed canceling. Relatives were confused, some angry. And Kaylin, she went nuclear. She screamed in the middle of the living room. So I missed my trip for nothing. And stormed off. Slammed the door to the room she shared with the little cousins, locked herself in, and didn't come out for the rest of the day. She refused to even eat with us. Wouldn't speak to anyone except to hiss at her little cousin to leave her alone. My sister, not Linda, tried to knock and talk to her, but Kaylin ignored her. She stayed locked up the whole next day too, only coming out to grab a juice and disappear again. At first, I tried to give her space. But I also thought she's being selfish. Yes, the trip didn't happen. And yes, the wedding was off. But it's not like we did this to her on purpose. We made a choice for the family. I didn't think that made us arseholes. But by the flight home, she wouldn't even look at us. She kept her hoodie up the whole time, cried during takeoff, then shut herself off with music again. She didn't say a single word to me or her dad the whole flight. I honestly thought she'd get over it after a few weeks. But it's been 3 years, and she still hasn't gotten over it. If anything, the resentment calcified into something more permanent. When we got home from New Mexico, Kaylin didn't do the dramatic teenage meltdown thing I expected. She just shut us out. She stopped eating dinner with us. She'd come home from school and go straight to her room. She talked to her dad even less than she talked to me. She only spoke to me when she absolutely had to, and even then it was clipped, stiff, and careful, like she didn't trust me not to disappoint her again. We tried offering to take her to New York that summer like we'd promised, but her answer every single time was the same. It's not the same. She wasn't emotional. She said it plainly, flatly, like she'd given up even trying to explain it. And maybe that bothered me more because it meant she didn't think I'd get it. Her friends talked about the trip nonstop. The chaperones uploaded photos. The school even made some slideshow videos for the 8th grade promotion ceremony, with clips of all the kids laughing around Times Square or sitting on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. I watched Kaylin during that slideshow. She sat there stiff, jaw tight, staring straight ahead like she was bracing for impact. She didn't cry. She didn't react. She just looked like someone absorbing a punch. And I kept telling myself she'd grow out of it. Teenagers dramatize everything. They latch onto one injustice and milk it forever. I figured once she started high school, she'd move on. That didn't happen. Freshman year, she stopped coming to most family gatherings unless we forced her. She barely interacted with my side of the family. When Linda visited during Christmas, Kaylin stayed upstairs and said she had school stuff, even though she was clearly just watching YouTube. She refused to hug Linda, refused to sit near her, and refused to take photos. That caused another round of family drama, with Linda crying and insisting she never meant for Kaylin to get hurt, and my mom pulling me aside to say, "You need to get your daughter under control." I defended Kaylin, but honestly, I also felt embarrassed. I kept thinking it wasn't that deep. Yes, it sucked, but life is full of disappointments. Why was she turning this into her entire personality? Then her sophomore year hit, and she got even colder. Not rebellious, not wild, just distant. Detached. She didn't want rides from us. She didn't want to talk about school. When her cousin had a confirmation ceremony, she flat out refused to go. My husband made her, and she didn't say a word in the car the entire drive except, "I don't have to sit with anyone." She sat in the back pew alone. Still, the part that really made me start questioning things happened a few months ago. Our son, the younger one, came home excited that he gets to sign up for the same NYC/DC trip this year. We were at dinner, and he was talking about how his friends were already forming groups and choosing roommates. My husband said, "As long as your grades are good, you can go." And he looked at me for confirmation. That's when I realized Kaylin had gone completely still. She put her fork down, said she was done eating, and went upstairs. I told my husband she was being rude. He said, "Can you really blame her?" Which caught me off guard. He's usually the one calling her dramatic. But he said, "We did screw her over, whether we meant to or not." And that stuck with me, because screwed her over sounded harsh. I didn't think that's what we'd done. We made a choice based on family obligations. We didn't know the wedding would implode. We didn't intentionally sabotage her experience. But the next day, I found her packing away some old school stuff in her closet, and she had the NYC trip packet in her hand. She saw me in the doorway, put it down quickly, and said, "Don't worry. I'm not going to make a scene about it. I don't care anymore." She said she didn't care, but her voice was tight. Control. She cares. She's just learnt not to show it. Later that night, I brought it up again. I told her I know she's still hurt. I said we wish it had turned out differently. I tried to explain that the wedding was important at the time. I tried to explain the family pressure. I told her I never meant to take something meaningful away from her. She said, "You didn't take a trip away from me. You took away something I earned. Something you said I could trust you on. You taught me not to rely on you for anything that matters to me." Then she walked past me and said she had homework. The kicker: she's still close with her friends who went on the trip. And every year when the new set of 8th graders go, they post photos. Kaylin always logs off social media during that week. So now, with my son getting ready to go, the whole thing is resurfacing. My husband wants to let him go without hesitation, and Kaylin thinks that's unfair. I know she's still angry at Linda, but she's mostly angry at us. She's polite to me when she has to be, but we don't have the bond we used to. I don't know if missing that trip is the whole reason, or just the thing that pushed us into this distance. Maybe it's both. I'm posting here because my son deserves the trip, and I want Kaylin to understand that him going doesn't mean we care less about her. But part of me wonders if I caused long-term damage by pulling her out of that experience. Maybe she's justified in feeling betrayed. So Ada? Comments. Comment 1. Not only did you know she wanted this trip for years, but you promised it, used it as leverage for her grades, and then yanked it away because the adults in your family couldn't organize their lives. That's a straight-up breach of trust. And honestly, you absolutely could have worked something out. Every school trip like this has parents carpooling, coordinating, chaperoning, and helping each other out. You didn't even try to explore alternatives. You immediately defaulted to, well, it's a family event. Too bad. It reads like you didn't view her commitment as real or important. Also, that excuse about, "we may not see relatives for a long time," is weak. There's a massive difference between missing a quick hello from people you see once every 10 years anyway, and missing a once-in-a-lifetime coming-of-age milestone with her friends. One she earned. One you told her she'd get if she upheld her end of the bargain. She was more likely to see those relatives again than ever get a redo of that trip. That's the part you're not acknowledging. You should have let her choose. She was old enough to understand the stakes. She didn't need protecting, she needed to be respected. YTA from me too. Comment 2. YTA. Oh, you seriously underestimated how deep that cut was for her. This wasn't a missed trip. This was a betrayal of trust from the two people she's supposed to rely on the most. She played by your rules and jumped through every hoop you set, and you still pulled the rug out from under her at the last minute. And the worst part, you did it for someone else's chaos. Linda blew up her own wedding. You prioritized that circus over your daughter's once-in-a-lifetime experience. You treated Kaylin like she'd get over it, but clearly she didn't because you never acknowledged the betrayal. You brushed it off like she was being over-emotional or dramatic. God, if I had $1 for every time an adult dismissed a teenage girl's valid feelings because she's just hormonal. Here's the part that really pissed me off. You called her selfish. She gave you multiple chances to hear her, to get that this trip wasn't about sightseeing or tourism. It was about autonomy, being treated like her life matters too. And you still framed it like you were the victim of circumstances. No, you made a choice. And she learned that you'll fold her plans the second someone louder demands your attention. You're feeling the consequences now not because you're a monster, but because you minimized your daughter's pain and expected it to evaporate. It didn't. It solidified. Comment 3. I don't think you understand just how big a deal this kind of trip is for kids that age. It's basically the middle school version of a rite of passage. They talk about it for years. It's independence, friendship, memories, and identity building, all the stuff teens crave. Weddings. Teens barely tolerate them. They're boring as hell, filled with small talk and adults telling them what to wear. And you made her miss that. For a wedding where she wasn't even central. She wasn't the bride, or the maid of honor, or someone whose presence made a difference. She was a prop adult relatives wanted around so the family photo looked complete. That's the harsh truth. Let me ask. If she hadn't gone, would anything have fallen apart? Would the wedding have been canceled sooner? Would anyone have even noticed for more than a minute? No. But she missed something she will never get back. And you can't recreate it with your, "we'll take you to New York later" solution, because the point wasn't the destination. It was the group, the moment, the memory, the stage of her life. Your entire extended family's scheduling conflict cost your kid a major developmental experience. And her resentment isn't because the wedding was canceled. It's because you never should have forced her to pick your sister's drama over her own milestone. YTA. And not because you didn't mean harm, but because you didn't grasp how much your choice mattered until years too late. Update. I honestly don't even know how to write this without feeling like I'm unraveling. Since my original post, things at home went downhill fast. Kaylin is still sulking about the trip she missed 4 years ago, yes, still. And yes, I know everyone's going to say, she's hurt. But at some point you have to move on, right? I've tried to make up for it. We've offered her alternatives. She's rejected every single one. She's chosen to hold on to this anger, and now weaponizes it every chance she gets. Meanwhile, our son just reached 8th grade, and this year, it's his turn for the NYC/DC spring break trip. The same one Kaylin missed. He's been so excited. His bag was packed 2 weeks early. He's been texting friends nonstop, planning everything down to snacks for the bus ride. I thought maybe Kaylin had mellowed out by now. I figured she wouldn't be thrilled, but I assumed she'd be mature enough to at least fake support for her brother. Wrong. The morning of the trip send-off, I asked her to come downstairs and see him off. Nothing dramatic, just be present, say good luck, maybe take a picture. She flat out refused. Stayed in her room with the door locked. When I finally pushed it open, she was scrolling her phone in pajamas like it was just any other day. I said, "This is important to your brother. You need to be there." She replied, without looking up, "You weren't there for me. Why should I pretend to care now?" That hit me like a slap. All I've tried to do is make this family strong, connected. And here she was, turning her brother's moment into her pity party. I told her, if she couldn't act like part of this family, if she couldn't put aside her grudge for 5 minutes, then maybe none of us needed to go. I said, "Keep acting like this and I'll pull him from the trip." She laughed and said, "Go ahead. That'll just prove you haven't changed at all." At that point, I was livid. I told my son that if things continued this way, the trip might be canceled. I said, "Don't be mad at me. Your sister's the reason this is happening." His face fell, completely. He looked like I'd punched him. And then my husband walked into the hallway. He said, "No, he's going. You are not doing this again." I tried to argue, told him we weren't going to reward Kaylin's behavior by acting like nothing was wrong. He said, "This isn't about Kaylin. This is about you. You're punishing him for a grudge you can't let go of." I said he was undermining me as a parent. He said he was protecting the kids from me turning them against each other again. Then he took our son, grabbed the keys, and drove him to the school without another word. I stood in the kitchen, alone, watching them leave. No one said goodbye. I didn't hear anything from my son the whole week. My husband gave me one-word answers if I asked how things were going. It was clear. I wasn't part of the conversation anymore. When he got back, I expected my son to be glowing. I thought maybe the trip would break the tension, give us some common ground again. He came in the door, barely said hello, and went straight to his room. 2 days later, my son told my husband something had happened at school. A teacher had emailed home saying he looked distracted, teary. Kaylin, apparently, had told him, "Don't expect them to keep their promise. They didn't keep it for me." My husband didn't tell me right away. When I found out, I confronted Kaylin. I told her she was messing with her brother's head, and it needed to stop. She said, "He deserves the truth." I wish someone had told me. A few weeks later, we had another family event, my dad's retirement dinner. Everyone was going. Kaylin said she had school commitments and couldn't make it. I let it go at first. Then later that night, I saw her tagged in photos at a mini golf place and a restaurant with some kids from school, including a boy she's not dating, even though I can see what's going on. She lied. Straight to my face. So I grounded her again. And yeah, maybe that seems harsh to some of you, but I can't let her keep disrespecting her family and lying to get out of obligations. I told her again that family comes first. That means showing up, even when you're mad or disappointed. That's life. If she can't handle that at 15, what will she become at 25? I told her if she keeps going down this path, holding on to grudges, treating family like the enemy, lying to get out of things, she's going to grow up cold and bitter, and no one's going to want to be around her. She just looked at me and said, "Then you taught me well." My husband didn't say anything. Later that night, he told me he was done walking on eggshells, that I needed to fix things with her, or he'd start making parenting decisions on his own. I told him to go ahead, since he already thinks I'm a common enemy. We're barely speaking. Kaylin won't go near me unless she has to. My son avoids conflict and stays quiet, but I can tell he's scared everything's falling apart. I wanted a strong, bonded family. That was always the goal. I didn't want to raise entitled brats who run from hard choices. I'm trying to teach them that family matters, But how do you do that when even your spouse treats you like the problem? Comments. Comment 1. Let me get this straight, you emotionally blackmailed your daughter again because she had the audacity to still be upset about something you did 4 years ago. And now you're mad that she's not bowing at your feet to say thank you. You didn't just pull your son out of the trip, you weaponized him against her. You let an 8th grade boy walk around thinking his sister is the reason he lost something important, when it was you who made that call. Also, you could make some kind of moral point. She was never going to absorb that way. And then when he freaked out, because he's a literal child who had nothing to do with this, you blamed her again and made her the villain. Then grounded her. Again. You keep calling it, teaching her that family comes first. But what you're really doing is showing her that your control comes first. You want to be obeyed, not understood. You want peace, but only on your terms. Your daughter's not cruel. She's hurt. And you haven't stopped re-injuring the same wound. That's why she's shutting down. That's why she lied. And let's be real, she wasn't on a small group date. She was trying to feel normal. The fact that you cared more about catching her in a lie than asking why she lied in the first place says it all. Comment 2. You are so obsessed with respecting the family that you've completely bulldozed your own child. You think Kaylin needs to learn kindness. Look in the damn mirror. You set her up to lose again and again, and then act shocked when she stops playing the game. First, you stripped her of something she earned. Then you treated her resentment like a character flaw. Now, you're using her brother as leverage to shame her into compliance. And when that didn't work, you doubled down, pulled him out of the trip, blamed her to his face, and then punished her for his heartbreak. You talk about family like it's sacred, but your version only functions when your daughter shuts up and gets in line. Newsflash, that's not unity. That's authoritarianism. Your daughter's not cruel, she's trying to protect herself. From you. Comment 3. Your husband deserves a effing medal for not walking out the front door with both kids in tow. Let's cut the crap. You're trying to enforce family values by turning your house into a minefield. You're swinging guilt, manipulation, and power plays at your teenagers, and acting shocked when they flinch. You say you want a strong, bonded family. But what you're actually doing is strong-arming people into pretending everything's fine so you feel in control. Your son didn't need to be punished. He needed to be protected from the fallout of a situation he had zero part in. Your daughter didn't need more grounding. She needed one damn adult in her life to stop making everything worse. Your husband finally stepped in. And instead of seeing that as a wake-up call, you saw it as a betrayal. Come on. Start listening instead of lecturing. Or your strong family will be 3 strangers who live in the same house and count the days till they can leave. Update. I honestly don't even know how to write this without sounding like my entire life imploded overnight. I still feel like I'm living in someone else's house, someone else's marriage, someone else's consequences. After the last argument, I decided I wasn't going to sit here and let Kaylin dictate the emotional tone of this family. Everyone keeps blaming me for that one missed trip years ago, even though I've tried to move on. So I made a decision. If she wouldn't participate in family events willingly, then I would create something that forced us to spend time together, whether she liked it or not. I planned a budget-friendly family vacation as a way to reset us. Yes, it was low budget. We can't afford anything extravagant right now, not with everything going on. But I found a cabin 2 hours away. It wasn't NYC, but it was something. Hiking, board games, cooking together, I thought it could put us in the same space without distractions. When I announced it, Kaylin rolled her eyes and said, "You're trying to redo something that wasn't yours to fix." That pissed me off. I'm trying to repair. And she throws philosophy quotes at me like she's some child psychologist. My husband didn't say much. He just said, "Maybe don't force it." But I already booked it. I wasn't about to cancel and admit failure. The blow-up happened a week later, not during the trip, because Kaylin refused to go at all. She said, "I'm not going," like she was choosing dinner. My son didn't want to go if she wasn't going. My husband said we should stay home. I refused. I said this family isn't going to fall apart just because one teenager thinks her trauma is the center of the universe. We ended up not going. And that was strike 1 for my husband. He barely spoke to me for days. Strike 2 came the following Friday. My son forgot his homework and was panicking because it was a major grade. I told him to calm down. Kaylin overheard and tried to coach him through a plan to talk to his teacher. I stepped in and told her to stop interfering. We have rules, kids need to deal with their own mistakes. She kept talking anyway, talking over me. I snapped. I tried to get her attention by tapping the back of her head. It wasn't a slap across the face or anything violent. It was a quick smack on top to make her stop. But it was wrong. The second my hand made contact, she froze. My son froze. My husband stormed in and yelled, "What the hell did you just do?" Kaylin said, "That's it," grabbed her bag, and walked out. Walked down the street like she was done with the entire house. My husband went after her. They were gone for hours. When he came back, she stayed outside in the car. He came in, looked me straight in the eye, and said, "You crossed a line." I told him he was overreacting. He said, "No, you don't get to decide that anymore." I found out later she had gone to her school's counselor and told them everything, not just the smack, but years of feeling unheard, the trip situation, the grounding over the family event she skipped, the pressure I put on her brother, all of it. The counselor called my husband because apparently he had listed himself as the emergency emotional contact. That was strike 3. He started sleeping in the guest room. He stopped arguing, stopped engaging entirely. I assumed he was being dramatic, trying to get me to apologize first. I didn't. I shouldn't have had to. Then came the morning that everything changed. I came home from grocery shopping, and the house was silent. The kids' shoes were gone. Their backpacks were gone. My husband's side of the closet was empty. The toothbrushes were missing from the bathroom. He left. He took both kids. I called him 20 times. He picked up once and said, "We need space." I told him he was kidnapping them. He said, "They wanted to leave." He moved them into a small 2-bedroom apartment across town. I thought he'd bring them back in a few days. That's what usually happens when he gets fed up. But he didn't. 10 days passed. I didn't see my kids. I didn't hear from them. The only communication I got was when he texted that our son cried himself to sleep the first night because he was scared I'd pull him from something else if he stepped out of line. 10 days after he left, a courier knocked on the door and handed me an envelope. Divorce papers. I sat on the floor for an hour with them in my hands, unable to move. I'm not exaggerating when I say everything inside me went hollow. I didn't think he would actually escalate. I thought he just needed a break. I thought we'd talk. I thought maybe he'd come home after cooling down. Instead, he served me. Our finances are a disaster now. I can't afford the house on my own. Half the bills were in his name. Half the savings are locked. I can't even renew the kids' school accounts without his approval. Every small parent portal login reminds me of how little access I suddenly have. And the worst part? Kaylin won't answer my messages. My son sends one-word replies like he's scared to say the wrong thing. My husband only texts logistics. I keep asking myself where this went so wrong. I wasn't trying to ruin my family. I was trying to keep it together. I thought discipline meant stability. I thought insisting they show up meant teaching them values. I thought love meant structure. Now I don't know what anything means. I don't know who the RC hole is anymore. I don't know how I'm supposed to fix something when I'm not even allowed in the room. Comments. Comment 1. You keep making the same mistake, blaming every outcome on the trigger instead of the pattern. It wasn't the school trip. It wasn't the wedding. It wasn't the grounding. It wasn't the forced vacation. It wasn't even the smack, although that was a giant red line you stomped right over. It's the fact that you consistently choose control over connection. Every single time. Your daughter tried for years to get you to understand her. She yelled at first. You dismissed it. She shut down. You dismissed it. She lied to avoid conflict. You punished her. She tried to advocate for her brother. You hit her. She went to a counselor. You called her dramatic. And then you act shocked when the entire household walks out. Your husband didn't undermine you. He protected the kids from escalating emotional damage. You say you wanted a bonded family, but all your actions scream that you wanted obedience, not connection. And now you're questioning your whole life. Good. That means you finally ran out of people to blame. Comment 2. Your husband leaving wasn't spontaneous. It was the endpoint of years of him trying to get you to see what you were doing. You ignored him. You ignored your daughter. You ignored every warning sign until you finally escalated to physical contact. And that's when he knew he couldn't trust you anymore around the kids without him there. And honestly, good on him. You say the finances are ruined now, but let's be real. They've been slipping because you've been pouring money into band-aid solutions you decided the family needed. The forced vacation, the punishments, the grounding sanctions, and the power moves. You spent money trying to recreate control, not connection. The kids aren't scared of you because you're strict. They're scared because they don't know when you'll switch from calm to punitive. If you want even a sliver of a relationship with your kids in the future, the only thing that will work now is humility. Actual humility. Not the, I was trying my best, but everyone misunderstood me routine. You hit your daughter. You isolated your son. You dismissed your husband. You refused to self-reflect. That's why you're alone. Second story. My girlfriend demands I fire my cleaning lady because she drinks soda from my fridge. I knew her even before my girlfriend, and I gave her permission to treat herself. I refused, and my girlfriend called me a man-child and broke up with me. Throwaway account. This is a dumb argument, but I need people to weigh in. I am 42, have a cleaning lady who comes every other week. She's super hardworking and really nice, and I completely trust her. She comes while I'm at work, and I get to come home to a clean house. The best feeling. One time she told me she drank a can of Pepsi from my fridge and even asked if she should pay me back. I told her she 100% has my permission to take a break and drink whatever she needs while she's here. Since then, she'll occasionally have a pop or a glass of juice, and once she said she had a piece of toast. She's never helped herself to any meals, snacks, or anything beyond that. My girlfriend F, 38, was over the other night and said she saw my cleaning lady stealing from the fridge. I told her she wasn't stealing, lol. She has my permission, and she's definitely not sitting around being lazy. She was taking a break. My girlfriend said it's weird and unprofessional, and that it could lead to boundary crossing. I told her I've known this woman for 2 years and nothing like that has ever happened. GF thinks I should fire her before it gets worse. Am I wrong for thinking, why change something that's been working perfectly fine? Am I being weird? Comments. Commenter 1. Your cleaning lady, your place, your choice. I think that she's the one being weird about it. OP. I don't understand what's so weird about it. My house is clean, and she does a great job every time. That's all I care about. Commenter 2. Is your cleaning lady a different race than your girlfriend? OP. Nope. We are all Caucasian. Commenter 3. You've got a girlfriend problem. She doesn't appear to be a decent person, if that's her reaction. She looks down on this woman for being a cleaning lady. NTA. Commenter 4. You have a hard-working woman that takes a pop on occasion or a piece of toast, with your permission. Please do not fire her, as she is a rarity. Your GF is cold and unkind. Commenter 5. And I guarantee you, she was either very hungry or maybe not feeling well for her to make a single piece of toast. She could have eaten anything, according to OP, but chose something simple to fill her belly. OP. Exactly. The fact that she needed juice or a pop means she was tired and needed sugar or caffeine. Yes, I told her she can eat or drink anything. Yet she has never eaten my leftovers or any meals I prepared or any treats I have in the fridge. Commenter 6. NTA. Your cleaning lady is following predetermined rules and is not taking advantage of you. As you said, she's hardworking and doing what you agreed with. Why mess with what's not broken? OP. Exactly my argument. Commenter 7. NTA. How long have you been with your girlfriend? She sounds a little bit entitled, but maybe I'm getting the wrong impression. I do think that her taking the Pepsi the first time is a little weird, but since you told her she could in the future, she isn't doing anything weird, and I feel like your girlfriend is overstepping. OP. About 5 months. Commenter 8. Does your girlfriend live with you? If so, a conversation is needed because no one should have someone they're uncomfortable with in their home. I think her discomfort is unreasonable, but that's a different conversation. If she doesn't live with you, she's not paying the housekeeper, and she doesn't intend to take over the cleaning herself. She can mind her own business. NTA. OP. She doesn't live with me. She stays at my place a couple of nights a week. Commenter 9. Why TA? Your girlfriend's right. Your cleaning lady is paid to work. You can specify a 30-minute break in your contract. However, if she wants to eat or drink something during that break, she should provide it herself. Taking anything from your refrigerator is inappropriate because she might take foods and drinks which aren't up for grabs and/or contaminate some of the foods you have in the fridge. OP. I don't have a contract. I just want a clean home when I come home. She can clean my home in 1 hour or 5 hours for all I care. How long has OP known the cleaning lady? And would he date her? OP. I've known the cleaning lady way before I started dating my girlfriend. If I wanted to hook up with her, I would have done it back then. Even if she was the most beautiful woman on earth. There's no way I'd ever do it because then I'd lose my cleaning lady. How she looks doesn't matter at all. Update. Okay, wow. I had no idea a silly debate between me and my girlfriend would blow up like this. I talked to her. And she said she thinks it's weird that my cleaning lady can grab something to eat or drink. She said it'd be better if she brought her own stuff. I was like, the woman goes to multiple clients a day. She can't be carrying a whole suitcase of snacks on top of the vacuum, mop, and everything else. And it's not like she's raiding my whole fridge, so who cares? My girlfriend said it just makes her uncomfortable. Then she asked why I even need a cleaning lady when I live in a 2-bedroom, and told me to just be an adult and clean your own place. She said, I don't need a cleaning lady to mommy me. I was like, she's not mommying me. She's a huge help, and my place looks amazing after she leaves. Then she said when we move in or get married, the cleaning lady has to go because she doesn't like strangers in her house, and that I need to get off my arse and do my part. I told her I don't get her logic at all. She doesn't charge much, I can easily afford her, and my house looks great, so what's the issue? She kept going on about how I'm being lazy and acting like a man baby, and that I should act like an adult. I told her I'm 42, and for my 40th birthday, I hired a cleaning lady as a gift to myself because I want my free time to relax. And I'm not changing that. I honestly have no effing clue what your problem is. I just don't get it. She hung up. Whatever. I'm honestly too old for this SHT. I'm going to bed. Thanks, everyone. Final update. She texted that she can't waste her time with a lazy man who would rather give full control of her house to a maid instead of getting off his arse to do the cleaning of the house himself. I told her best of luck. She told me to go F myself. Looking forward to spending the holidays with my son this year in my very clean house. Thank you, everyone. Comments. Commenter 1. Quick question. Was marriage even on the table before this? OP. We did talk about it. Yes. She asked me if I want to get married one day. I said yes. Commenter 2. If she's this threatened by the cleaning lady, how long is it going to be until she tells your son to stop remembering his mom? OP. She has never commented about her picture being on my wall, my late wife, and my son as a kid. She asked who she was, and I told her. She has met my son twice. I honestly don't know. Commenter 3. Bro, she is extremely jealous. This is a massive red flag. I'm guessing either the relationship isn't that old, and she has been hiding her jealousy, or you have been ignoring the red flags. Has she gotten cold towards you after you mention, or have normal interactions with other women? This type of stuff doesn't go away. It gets worse. If she is this jealous of a cleaning lady, then she likely has been building up anger and resentment every time you talk about or interact with a woman. You can try having a conversation about her jealousy, but it's kind of hard to discuss an issue when the other person's opinion is based on non-logical emotion. I'm not the kind of person to jump to suggesting breaking things off, but this is bad. I mean, you wouldn't be here posting this if you didn't already know that. You are just looking for confirmation, so here it is. OP. No, I don't think she is jealous at all. She sees me as a lazy man, baby, and wonders why I don't do it myself. Commenter 4. YTA. You are picking a cleaning lady over your GF. Plain and simple. She makes your GF uncomfortable. GF doesn't need a reason to be uncomfortable. You knowing she is should be enough. If you respected your GF and valued her opinion, you would talk about this in person. Also, I can't help but think your cleaning lady must also be beautiful. Maybe even mildly attractive. This could be the real problem. Maybe your GF is uncomfortable with another woman in your house. It sets me off. I'd hate to know another woman was in my home. Professionally, doesn't mean it's automatically not a problem for your relationship. You don't care about your relationship, and that is sad. OP. It's not a competition. I'm not picking anyone over anyone. I'm at that age that I have no shame in hiring help, if that means I get to relax more. I also take my car for an oil change instead of doing it myself. Did I choose the mechanic over my GF? As I said earlier, I've known the cleaning lady way before I started dating my girlfriend. If I wanted to hook up with her, I would have done it back then, even if she was the most beautiful woman on earth. There's no way I'd ever do it, because then I'd lose my cleaning lady. How she looks doesn't matter at all. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.